There's a lot of chatter out there saying there needs to be a centralized system. Well, what are your comments on that?
Yeah, I think the conventional wisdom right now that if you hear, the industry chatter is that there won't be enough disposal capacity, and also that therefore disposal pricing is going to go up for operators. You also hear that there will be more headwinds on permitting. Um, I don't necessarily believe that's true. I think that there's definitely a case for saying that disposal rates can be driven down if you implement a strategy like the one that we subscribe to. And I think there's a lot of underutilized capacity out there still available, and it's simply stranded. When you have a sector like ours really blossom, private equity being the efficient source of capital it is, you end up with fierce competition to deploy capital, and you end up building wells next to each other, pipelines next to each other, and it's really bad for the market. Operators don't like the idea of losing optionality for providers when they think about a service, right? You want to spread the love a little bit. You don't want to be subject to a monopoly, but at the same time, it's everybody is fighting to basically make a lower return on their capital instead of having higher return and being able to also offer market or lower pricing. And so when we talk about H2O, we look at produced water and the challenge for the industry. We in our heart of hearts believe that producing oil and gas from the Permian in particular is good for the world. We think it's a noble initiative, and we think as an industry we kind of have to look at it holistically and how we manage our water challenge, we'll say. And so when you talk about these the lack of connectivity, it's really the core of our thesis is that you have what I'll call these islands of infrastructure that, especially the captive ones by operators, or even some commercial ones that maybe haven't, they've lost contracts to guys next door. They're there and they're not taking water, and they're low utilization. But it's really hard to get a deal done when someone's put a bunch of money into an asset, and you might not want to pay what it's worth. It may be better to go drill your own brand new facility against what they expect to get for it. But as time goes on, I think you're going to see deals that make consolidation a real possibility. And the way we'd like to see that happen is not through drilling a zillion new disposal wells. I don't think that's the right idea. I think the first step should be to connect these islands of infrastructure such that utilization can be best managed. Development is a moving, dynamic thing, be it timing, be it the area that might be seeing completions, and reuse is our best, easiest, most logical sense of minimizing the need for disposal as long as there's activity. And so we basically propose, for example, in the Western Delaware where we're at, connecting with pipeline infrastructure, these different developments under kind of a single management, consolidated management, where you can maximize your reach on a single system. You of course don't just connect it, you have to hydraulically balance it. So if you have a cluster of infrastructure in one area, it may be that even that infrastructure is constrained by small pipe east to west or north to south, right? You actually have to debottleneck that as well as connecting it into a broader system to make it work. But what you need is to be able to put water in a pressurized super system, as you called it, and that water go in and basically be a mechanism for water to go out elsewhere, even very far away. And so when you do that, you reach as many developments as possible. Those developments really just, when they have completions needs, you're opening a valve, right? And you're taking water out, and therefore minimizing your use of downhole disposal. You can also geographically manage, say, high utilization if you're short capacity, to the areas that have the least proven seismic risk. And so it's, connect these developments, hydraulically balance them, maximize the amount of water leaving the system for recycle and completions. And then what I really see disposal as in that framework is a relief valve. When you have a imbalance of supply and demand of produced water on that system, the disposal acts like the relief valve. It's still a necessary part of the system, and it's truthfully the only way to economically viably underwrite this type of huge capital investment is to be able to get say a 15-year contract or a 10-year contract, because you need that much time to be competitive and underwrite tens and even hundreds of millions of dollars.